Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
This is 476 Barbary, right?
Yeah, I'm renting this place.
No, I booked it a month ago.
Are you sure you have the right place?
Yeah. What am I supposed to do?
Why don't you come inside and we'll call these idiots. Why don't you just crash here?
Oh, no.
I don't know if you got a great look at this neighborhood, but I don't think you should be out there by yourself. It's dry and there's a lock on the door. By the way, I'm Keith.
Tess.
You take the bedroom and I'll sleep out here on the couch.
God. Keith?
This process might seem overwhelming, but with a little practice, it can soon become a pleasurable experience. This is perfectly natural.
Looks like meat's back on the menu.
And welcome back to another exciting episode of the Tapehead Massacre podcast. This is episode 40, the big 40. We have hit 40. I am Caleb, and I'm I fucked it up. I was gonna give you a little doodad.
Yeah.
I was gonna give you like a little
Just
like
do it. Go ahead, do it. Still do
and,
it.
and I'm with my trusty co-host Chris today.
I
Hey,
like
bud.
it. That was good. What's going on, man?
Chilling, man. We so disclaimer, preface, we don't have Tyler with us today because he hasn't seen Barbarian, and we're talking Barbarian today. So we're not gonna have him on and talk about a movie he hasn't seen yet. He's got to go and see it for himself. Tyler, if you're tuning in, don't listen to this because we're gonna give out spoilers. And anyone that is here listening or watching, we're giving out spoilers. So spoiler alert. All right.
And this movie's got wild spoilers, bro.
It does. It does. And but yeah, before we dive into this bad boy, let's have you been watching anything lately, buddy?
So it's actually funny, man. So I don't know if you know, and this is not a sponsor because this is gonna oddly sound like a sponsored post. I have a huge Blu-ray collection. We're just about to break 1,000 titles. And I catalog everything in an app called CLZ Movies. It's like, $1 a month or whatever. And I made a post on the CLZ Facebook group and I was like, man, I really wish there was a way that I could randomize my movies and it would just pick one for me.
Oh, dude, yeah.
So I could watch. I don't know what to watch. You know what I mean? So in the app you can label all of them either watched or unwatched. So
Yep.
all of my movies are labeled as unwatched. So I make this Facebook post and I'm all like, man, hey, developers, this is a good idea. And the first comment was like, just shake your goddamn phone.
Okay, yeah.
Like, oh, so like I'll do it real quick. So I've been going on CLZ every night. So I go on like this and it's got the collection and I shake. And like tonight it wants me to watch Overlord from 2018. So I've just been doing that.
Well, that's funny because I have it's just called Movies by a company called Sort It Apps.
Okay.
And I know I have the blurred background. I'm gonna actually
that's why I couldn't show mine.
yeah, I'm gonna turn mine off. Here we go. So this is
Yeah.
what that looks like, the same deal. And if you turn it sideways, it goes. Can I get it?
You have your lock on?
There we
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, and then ready. Oh, I just locked my phone.
They're calling
yeah.
911.
Come on.
Come on, man. Oh, it's a
There we
there
go.
you go. With that pick, Devil's Due.
No, I think is that Devil's Due? Oh, it is Devil's Due.
Oh man, I just saw the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's it.
so I watched, I think the first night, let me double check my letterbox because so the first day I started doing it, right? It's real early in the morning and I get up and I shake it and Teen Wolf comes on.
Nice.
I'm like, all right, sick. So I watched the Scream Factory collection. I'm like, yeah, I love this movie. So then I shake it again because it's like 9 a.m. and fucking I got stuck with watching Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage.
Nice. Is that any good? I think I put it on like once or twice and fell asleep.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, it's not good, but it's
Yeah.
wild. Just
It's
him
like one of those like
doing-
weird Cage movies that just kind of went strange for a little while.
Yeah. So yeah, I watched that. I watched the next night I did it. I watched Carrie 2.
Okay.
Rage. I watched that, and then it was like the first Purge, I think was one of them, which is still my least favorite Purge movie. And then last night, I watched Predator 2.
Okay. Nice. Yeah,
So-
I saw these on your Instagram. Yeah.
It's been a little everywhere.
It's all over the place.
me.
Well, it's funny. I was actually looking forward to telling you live on air. I actually just watched all the Purge movies for the first time.
Okay. All right. So what do you have an order of favorite?
I don't think I could do that off of one watch. I think the last one was like the best one.
Oh, dude, Forever Purge is fantastic.
Yeah, that was really cool. You know what? I for the longest time, I just put these movies down and I don't know why. I don't know what it was. I don't know why I never checked out the first one. The first one is super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know why it took me this long, but yeah, I checked out those and I thought they were great.
It gets like really good with Anarchy and Election Year.
Yeah. Well,
Then-
that's Election Year was the only one that wasn't available for streaming without purchase. So I
It's-
skipped over that.
It's basically Anarchy, and it just even more. And then I don't like the first Purge.
Okay.
I saw it in theaters, didn't like it then, watched it again, didn't like it. And then I think the Forever Purge is the best Purge movie.
Yeah, it was really cool concept. I liked it a lot. I liked the whole like hopping the border, like the socio-political thing of like, well, we should go to Mexico, as opposed to like the American dream of, we should go to America. Yeah.
Well, for the first time in a Purge movie, and I know this isn't an episode reviewing Purge movies, but I actually felt there's that whole scene, I think kind of like near the end where they're in the city and it's a one long take of them just trying to navigate through the city and it's just chaos. And for the first time in all those movies, I felt like that is what a Purge would feel like.
Yeah.
That-
I mean,
That's
like more or less like what I was expecting with the first one. I didn't expect it to be like almost like a what's the Jared Leto movie? Escape Room.
just like a home invasion. It's like The Stranger.
What the fuck was the Jared Leto movie with the Panic Room? Panic Room. There you go. Panic Room.
Oh my God, Jared Leto was in that.
Yeah. Like kind of like that. That's kind of like what the Purge
Yeah.
felt like. It was just like we're gonna lock down and oh fuck, we locked down with like, somebody inside the house. But yeah, so I thought those were good. Here's the thing. We'll probably have to talk about it. We'll do we'll probably do a like a subscriber episode for this one, just because it's like super new and it's very controversial right now, and I don't think we can really like dedicate a lot of time to it because it's not a lot to talk about. But I did watch the new Monsters.
So I bought it from Best Buy. I just
Oh, nice.
I didn't have time to go pick it up today. I mean,
Okay.
whether or not I like it, I want all the Rob Zombie movies, and it's like
Yeah.
$15.
Yeah, I definitely want to pick up a hard copy of it because disclaimer, I thought it was great. And
That's what I heard.
and I know a lot of people were like talking shit on it, and honestly, it's just today's modern age whimsical slapstick monsters. The only thing that felt like Rob Zombie in the entire film was the set design and the filming locations. All of that was very zombie-esque. The like very like just, you know, ambient lighting and the like excessive color palettes, very zombie. So, which I was all about. I mean, I thought it was great, but we'll talk about that on another episode.
I was torn. I was torn between watching the Munsters on Netflix or Blonde, the new Marilyn Monroe movie.
Yeah.
So I decided to watch Blonde tonight.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was like, I'm gonna watch. I'll go.
Pam and I think Pam and I are gonna do that tonight because we also another thing that we'll have to do an episode on if you've watched it. We just finished the Dahmer series.
Man, I can't get into the whole
listen
murder.
Here's the thing, man. This is what I was saying to Pam. This is what I've said. I've kept my mouth shut online, just because like I actually deleted a few people, because there's something that like, not to divulge like huge into this topic because it could be a long wormhole and we could be here for a while. But I think that glorifying serial killers is fucking stupid, and Jeffrey Dahmer was a fucking piece of shit, and John Wayne Gacy's a piece of shit. They're all fucking terrible people, no matter what the fuck. Like, this is my personal belief. I mean, no matter what the fuck their upbringing was that made them fucked up, they still brutally fucking killed people. And I can sit down and watch the most fucked up movie tonight and sleep peacefully watching it because it's fucking pretend, and it might have scared me or entertained me, but it was fucking fake. You know, everything that these serial killers have done, Dahmer especially, you know, especially after finishing this docu-series, whatever, you start to find out like some of like the real fucking sadistic shit. The one thing I don't like about these types of docu-series is like the random things that like might have just been dramatized for TV. And I'm like, and that kind of gives them like almost like the thing is, there's parts in this series that kind of make you have remorse for him. And I don't want remorse for him. I mean, personally, I don't think that evil is born or bred. I think that it is, how does the two go? I think it's developed. Yeah. I forget what it's like. There's like a way to say the two, but yeah, I think it's taught. This like behavior is taught, not that somebody's like, hey, you're gonna fucking brutally kill these people, but it's like, you know, his dad like took him out. This is like a father-son bonding thing, and like they grabbed roadkill off the side of the road and turned it into taxidermy. It's pretty fucking weird, man. Like, I, as an adult, when I see roadkill on the road, I literally look the opposite way because it'll fucking gross me out and I'll feel bad for the dead animal. So like, you know what I mean? But anyway, I just think that like these there's, you find out more about the victims, and there is like a positive shedding light onto certain topics of things, especially like the racial movement that was behind everything back then, where a lot of the injustice with the police system, and just a lot of the wrongdoings where, you know, Dahmer's neighbors were literally calling the police saying he's killing people, and just because
stink, right?
What's that?
Was it a stink? Didn't something smell?
There was a stink, and there was screaming, and there was all these like loud noises in the middle of the night. And his neighbor, Glenda, can't remember her last name now, but yeah, she called the police multiple times, and they just thought that she was fucking, they just didn't take her word for it because it was a poverty stricken area, and the building that they were lived in was low income housing, and had it was like a kind of a crack den in parts of the building, and like had like a lot of robberies. So they just kind of like turned a blind eye to that whole thing.
Yeah.
So, but not to get into that whole topic of conversation, did watch that. I would say that it's, our listeners will probably, watch it, or they would already have watched it. But I would say check it out for the informative element, but don't fucking idolize fucking serial killers, because honestly, like if you were in the victim's shoes, that would be a terrifying experience, being like, in that situation. You know what I mean?
Imagine your legacy lives on via Netflix shows with A-list actors portraying your killer, and people, saying how handsome or how sexy these murderers or whatever.
Right. No, you're right. You're absolutely right, because that was one thing that was kind of in the back of my mind the whole time while watching this. I'm kind of just like, damn, like the families are still around. Like there's definitely got to be I mean, this is only the 90s. I mean, so it's not that long ago. These family members are still alive. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just like, oh, great. Like you just said, A-list actors portraying the person that killed their, dad, or uncle, or whoever the fucking, whatever relative it was. You know what I mean?
It's just not like, I get why Netflix does it and why they lean into it so heavy. It's got a huge viewer base. I mean, there are people now who, like, their personality trait is like, I see it all the time. It's like, let's put on a blanket, drink coffee, and watch serial killer documentaries.
Right.
And I'm like, it's not, to me, it's super depressing because it blurs that line. Like you said, the reason we watch horror movies and can enjoy them is because they're fake. They're not real. And you have ones that are based on real. You have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's very loosely based on Ed Gein, but there's that line is still there, and it's very distinct of this fake. None of this is real. And then you watch serial killer documentaries, and I genuinely get depressed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm telling you, like it was just like there was a lot of moments that I'm just like, man, like I don't want to watch this anymore. Like this is just, it was just tough, man. It's a tough watch.
And I get, like, Erica's watching it right now, and I completely get it. And every night for the last 3 nights, she's called me and she's like, man, this show is disturbing. And I'm like,
it is, because
that's why I'm not gonna watch it.
I mean, that's there's just like, I don't know. And
then there's Barbarian that we
and then there's Barbarian that we're talking about this week. So I went to the theaters last night and saw it with Pam, and here's the thing, I didn't watch the trailer.
Me neither.
I didn't watch the trailer. Oh, fucking hell, dude, I got the yellow bad tonight.
Bro.
I know. I didn't watch the trailer. I actually didn't look up anything on IMDb. This was, for me, a pretty cool experience in the sense that I went in completely blind.
Yep.
Didn't know a thing about it besides the media hype and all of people online going fucking crazy over this movie, right? I was like genuinely shocked to find out that like Bill Skarsgård, Justin Long, Richard Brake was in it.
Doomhead from 31. I always think of.
Yeah. It's like, I'm like seeing all these people, and I'm just like, I had no idea this is what I was in for. But personally, for me, I'll just give this up front, and then I'll get into more of why. This is when the spoilers will begin. So I haven't used Letterboxd in a hot ass minute, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pull out Letterboxd and I'm gonna start doing reviews again, just for shits and gigs. And it's also a nice way for me to kind of keep what I've watched, because my collection app that I have as well also has a watched and unwatched thing, but I actually don't use that feature because I have, I think, over like 2,600 titles in there. In like, I just don't. It's just a lot to go through, man. It's so much. Well, hello. We are the
The
blur.
blurred out kitty.
Yeah, the blur is so weird. But so with Letterboxd, it actually allows me to be like, oh, I did watch this, and I watch so much digital shit too. So like that also helps with that as well. So I was like, I'm gonna pop in a review. So I gave it a 3 out of 5, which I thought was good. Which I thought was not bad. All right, that's like I think it's a good review. And I specifically said a lot of fun, but overhyped. And I went into why.
That's a problem. That though, I think is a result of you waiting so long. Because like
I'm sure
weekend. So I had no idea the hype.
Right.
I had nothing. I was just like, I get to enjoy this as pure as it gets.
You're right. You're making a good point.
Yeah,
you make a good point.
I saw it on Erica texted me on Thursday a picture that she bought tickets for it, and I was at work and I was like, I don't know what this movie is like. And I think I like went on IMDb real quick, and the movie wasn't even out yet, and I was like, I read like the plot real quick up top, and I was like, okay. I didn't watch the trailer, nothing.
Yeah.
And then we went and saw it, and I just had. I mean, it's not a master class into horror, like a work of art or nothing, but fucking shit, it is wild.
Okay, so going in blind, I did not know what to expect in terms of, is this a supernatural movie? Is this a, fucking like stalker slasher? God damn.
Wake up, dude.
I know. And then I saw like all like the whole neighborhood was just all like graffitied, and I'm like, okay, is this kind of like bums and like, like just deranged people in the neighborhood are just going to be like out for blood, like almost like The Purge? I was like, is that going to be the vibe? You had no idea what to expect with that opening, Tess and Keith. You don't really know what's going on. At first I was like, Bill Skarsgård's the killer. Like,
100%.
I wasn't expecting, like an act 1, you know what I mean? Like, where it's like, here's the story before the story, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I'm like, Bill Skarsgård's the fucking killer. He's a fucking creepy piece of shit. He's being weird. Like, there's like some weird tension being built, and then they bond over jazz.
It's awkward.
It's super awkward.
Yeah.
It was. And like they bond over jazz because apparently he's like a founder of like some jazz group. And I was like, oh shit, he probably just fucking made all this up, and he just was stalking this girl. And like, the reason that they're both there is because of a double booking through like Airbnb and whatever the fucking other one was.
Yeah.
And so like he's offering her like, you could stay and I'll sleep on the couch, and and then it's like this like creepy thing that happens in the middle of the night where like the doors open, and like there's a lot of tension being built. The cinematography, this like I don't know if you remember this shot, but there was a really, really cool fucking shot when she goes and lays back down in bed.
Yeah.
She lays back down on the bed, and the camera pans back and then does this like swoop up. And it's just super bizarre. Like, I've never seen like anything like that. It was almost like drone motion, but like in a bedroom.
It reminds me of, did you see Malignant?
Very similar to Malignant.
So
yeah,
all the camera stuff in this movie, all the cinematography, all the photography, which I loved, reminded me 100% of what James Wan does in his movies, even from like the crazy step. Well, before I get there, the non-linear storytelling kind of unraveling style of the movie was my favorite part.
It was.
As soon as I thought things were where I want it to be, it started like unraveling something. Justin Long is this big Hollywood director working on a TV show accused of rape. And then you're like, what does Justin Long have anything to do with this? He's in Hollywood. Like, who the hell is this guy? And mind you, this is after Bill Skarsgård gets his head bashed in by a giant woman in a thing
naked.
And then all of a sudden it just cuts, and Justin Long's in a convertible, driving along the highway in San Francisco. And I'm like, why is Justin Long in this? And he's accused of rape. And then the thing I like the most is he goes through, like, you see him talk to his finance guy. You see him talk to he's on the phone with people. You see this story's kind of unraveling. And then he lands in town where this Airbnb is located.
Detroit, Michigan.
In Detroit, yeah, in Detroit. Lands, goes to the house, and he's on the phone with like the Airbnb, and he's like, "What, did nobody come to clean up this fucking house? Like, are there still people staying here?"
Yeah.
He just decides to go get a drink, where you find out he actually did force this girl into a sexual act.
Right.
So all the allegations are true. And now I'm like, well, Justin Long's kind of a piece of shit in this movie. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And then he slowly discovers everything. And then now you're right back in the first plot point, because he goes downstairs. He's literally measuring square footage to add onto the property for when he sells the house as a liquidation tactic. And I'm like, what is this movie just went from like batshit crazy and terrifying to hilarious, because Justin Long is absolutely fantastic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was absolutely nutty. I thought that the whole Justin Long plot was going to be executed a lot differently than it was, and I was happy with the way that it went. I didn't expect him to go to the house. Like, that was just like, I was at first like, I was like, this is going to be a whole remote job and it'll come up, but it was very cool unraveling of him going to the house and being there, and then also this measuring the square footage. Now, you see, this is where things get a little twisted. God fucking damn it, dude. This is a bad night, dude. This is where things get a little twisted in the storytelling for me, and this is why. So we find out that we have this older man who's played by
Richard Brake.
Richard Brake, yeah. And he goes and he's picking up like baby stuff at a store.
Flashes back to like the 70s.
Yeah, it's like flashes back, right? Yeah. So, and he's picking up like diapers and like pads and stuff like that, and all this like baby stuff, right? And comes to find out he's expecting a baby, right? But you don't really know why, or if he's married or anything like that. And then like he pulls out of this supermarket, and there's like this woman getting in her car, and he starts to like kind of ominously like follow her. Then it cuts to him pulling up to home, and one of his neighbors says that he's moving. Everyone's moving. The neighborhood's turning to shit, right? And he goes, "I'm not going anywhere." Brings the stuff inside, and then it kind of resumes back to your current timeline. And I'm like, okay, so you get a little bit of a backstory with this.
He goes to the girl's house. Remember, pretends to be.
That's right.
The electric, or he puts on.
Yeah, he puts on like a
like, "Oh, I'm with the electric company. I need to check all your."
That's right. And he unlocks the window so he can let himself in later on. Yeah, I forgot about that sequence.
Which is weird to me, because when he pulls up at home, he's still wearing that jumpsuit, and the neighbor doesn't notice that his name is wrong.
It says Carlos.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's some dude's name, Carlos, and this guy definitely doesn't strike me as a Carlos. His character's name is Frank, so interesting. But yeah, so, and it flashes back to the current timeline after that, and you have Justin Long and Tess, who is played by Georgina Campbell, and they're kind of fighting for their lives in this like crypt that this Frank guy has obviously built at this point, because the house was vacant, and up for sale. Nobody was living there, or to their knowledge, but there was like this trap door that leads to this tomb, basically, or this crypt rather. And there's like this old woman like running around and like treating everyone like a baby, and like you got to bottle feed and like pretend that that's your bait, or you're her baby, and this like weird thing. And like Tess
breastfeeds Justin Long.
She breastfeeds Justin Long after she like pulls him out of like the trap, and that sequence was like pretty chilling. But then you got Tess that gets out of the house, and she meets this this like local bum, and the bum is who chased her into the house in a sequence earlier. So we automatically assume that this bum's a bad guy, but we come to find out that this bum is just warning her of, what was in that house. And he kind of aids to her rescue later on in this sequence where she comes out of the house. He tells her, like, she goes out at night, so like don't fuck around. And she like pulls out with her car, Tess does, and then this fucking old hag comes running out, just fucking titties flopping, dude, just like nasty, like old swamp hag, and Tess just drills her straight into the house. And you're like, oh yeah, done. Now you're like, the hag is dead. Justin Long comes out of the house, and then they retreat to the water tower where this bum lives, right? The bum has a name. It's Andre, and played by James Butler.
I don't know why that's funny. The bum has a name.
Yeah.
It's Andre. I think we have a shirt that just says it's Andre.
It's Andre. I like that. So Andre is kind of explaining what's been going on. Now, when Justin Long is down there, he sees Frank all fucked up and old and decrepit. And Justin Long also sees all these tapes on the wall with all these different women's names on them, right? Probably like 30 tapes or so. And this is where things get a little bit of fucking different for me, right? So Andre is telling Justin Long and Tess. Justin Long's name is AJ. So AJ and Tess are with Andre. Andre's explaining to them the backstory of Frank, right? That he goes and he picks up these women and kidnaps them, brings them down there, rapes them, gets them pregnant, then starts having sex with the babies and creates
copy of a copy.
Yeah, copy of a copy of a copy. Now, in my thinking, that just means that there's going to be like a horde of them fucking things down there, of these like incestual beings, right? But that's not what happens. And it's just the hag and just Frank. And the hag was just one of his children that, whatever. Frank wasn't married to anybody, which is what I believed at first. I figured like his wife was having a baby, but you come to find out he's just kidnapping these women and torturing them down there or whatever. So you clearly find out that that's the case. And the sequence where Andre gets all fucked up and gets his arm ripped off, because he's like, she ain't come out down these parts for 15 years, and boom, she busts through like the Kool-Aid man and in the wall behind him and just fucking rips his arm off, and fucking, I think she splits him in half or something. She gives him a Chelsea smile or something.
Yeah. Oh my God, bro.
But then
this is where the movie, I think, becomes the best.
It gets fun. It's fun. Yeah, the whole happening afterwards, for sure.
I mean, so I guess I'll pick it up from here. So Andre gets killed, and basically AJ and Tess have nowhere to go, so they climb the water tower to the top, and this hag is chasing them. And in the craziest series of events ever, they realize that Justin Long, AJ comes to a realization that the only way to really kill her is to sacrifice and jump off the water tower with her, and she'll die, but somebody else will die too. And this piece of shit, it comes out of nowhere, just throws Tess off the water tower.
Yeah, he's just like, sorry, I got it, and just fucking grabs Tess and throws her off, and he says, go get your baby.
And the best shot is the hag launching off of the water tower.
Yeah, and like people in the theater were laughing and also like, oh,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like for me, I was like, damn, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, so in midair, the woman catches Tess, and the woman lands on her back, sparing Tess, and Justin Long comes running down, and he's like, I had to do it. Like, he's like asking her to justify, yeah, I had to do this. And that's when the hag gets up and kills. She pushes his eyes in.
Yeah, she gouges his eyes out. Yeah, and rips his head in two.
Yeah, and into I think a scene that actually kind of must have like hit something weird in me, but the obviously Tess is not perfect. She's a little fucked up. She just got launched off of a water tower. And the woman is trying to like nurture her like a mother. So she's like grabbing her and kind of holding her, and Tess grabs the gun that Justin Long had and blows the hag's head off, basically. And it's actually really sad. It was a really like I was like,
yeah, no, I
man.
agree. And like then that's just it. It's just the fucking credits
It
roll.
really just ends. Yeah, and then it's her walking through the thing. And the final song in the credits was oh my god, what is that song that starts playing? Adam, it just has like it's a totally different vibe than everything.
Yeah. Fucking I got you, babe.
I think so.
Yeah, pretty sure it's
And
I got you, babe.
I remember so specifically like just turning and looking at Erica and going like, what the fuck?
That was literally my reaction. I turned over to Pam and was just like, what the fuck? And like now that we've recapped it together and I'm talking about it more, maybe I can bump my 3 to a 3.5. I mean, I did have a lot of fun watching it. I did. And the hag looked great. That was like a super well done creature, character, person. God damn. Killer, if you may. And there were a lot of good elements to it. It's just I felt like there was that hole that they dug themselves by having Andre give you this dialogue telling you that there was a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. And like it's only been like 30, 40 years. So you'd think that there'd be a few of them that were still alive. I mean, if Frank's still alive down there, for fuck's sake, I mean, he does kill himself.
Yeah.
But if Frank's still alive down there, you got to think that some of these things made it. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, like, this isn't like a small movie. This was a big budget, big studio movie. And I guess these studios always, I remember reading a little interview with Zach Kreger, the director, and basically he went through hell trying to get this movie made. It was original script that he wrote. He went through hell trying to get this movie made. And it was basically the success of Malignant that really kind of gave studios this confidence that shit horror is back. And that's what 99% of the movie is. And then the 1% is kind of the studio, like, we need backstory. And that's kind of, that scene with Andre is the only scene that feels like it would be studio notes. It would be like, hey,
okay, I respect that.
But he didn't outright say it, but that movie would have been perfectly fine without ever explaining what this was, where it came from. Like, if that scene with Andre had never existed and the movie was like 5 minutes shorter without it, I would not have had any complaints. I would have been like, it's fucking batshit.
Yeah.
But once you get into the backstory, I'm like, Andre really served every character in this movie serves a direct purpose and like is a great fleshed out character.
Yeah.
And Andre is just kind of like the town who's there for backstory.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. So, I mean, yeah, I'll bring my 3 to 3.5. And I'll give it a 3.5. Some dude commented on my Letterboxd review, and like it's not somebody that follows me. I guess he just like found my review off the hashtags.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm glad that you didn't make this movie or any movie that I've ever watched."
Nice.
And I was just like, "Damn, all right, bud." I was like, "I didn't say I hated it. I was like, I said I liked it. I just figured that there would be more happening. I thought there would be more that would come of this." Cellar dwelling family of incest, but
it's tough, man, because like I do, a part of me did kind of want a little bit more in some aspects. Like I was like, it is kind of a slow movie in the beginning.
Yeah.
It really kind of takes its time getting there, and I'm fine with that. But I'm just really happy that studios are giving these movies a chance again. And like this is a movie that within the last couple of years you would have seen like Blumhouse put out,
Right.
or like it would have been something that randomly popped up in festivals and then it got distribution and showed up. So hype would have already been there, kind of like a Terrifier, where hype was there from smaller circumstances and then it became this big thing.
Yeah.
Barbarian was pure big studio, and they approached it with like, hey, let's just let word of mouth do this movie, because even the trailer that I did watch after is very misleading. Like the trailer gives you nothing at all. Like I watched the trailer and I was like, I would not have thought. The one thing that the trailer does that was interesting for a mislead was that shot of her on the porch where the camera does a 360 and you find out how destroyed this neighborhood is. They mixed that shot in with the one from the flashback with Richard Brake where the town was really nice. So it's her standing there and the camera pans and the neighborhood's all nice. And then it becomes the slum. And then there's like a voiceover of like a robot lady. So I would have initially thought like, oh, this is one of those movies like The Cabin in the Woods, where it is kind of like a weird government project happening at this house.
Fair. Yeah.
And the movie was absolutely nothing like that.
Right. Yeah.
I fucking loved it, man. I had such a cool time with it. I can't wait for that to come out so I can watch it again.
I definitely want to watch it again. I kind of want to. Also, another thing that I'm kind of leaving out here, not that I really missed anything, but I had to leave the theater and take a shit.
Nice.
Yeah, so I missed like maybe 5 minutes. I'm a power shitter, so I'm in and out. So
You didn't leave a bag in the theater though, did
you got it's for anyone that listens to the show religiously, you will know that reference. So
when did you get up and go take a shit?
It was right when she got locked in the basement for the first time. When Tess got locked in the basement. So when I came back, she had just got the door open with the camera.
Okay.
So I missed her like fondling around the basement and like her finding the rope to pull the door open and shit.
Here's my question to you. So scenario, you book an Airbnb in a completely different city, right? You show up, you get to the Airbnb, you don't know me. I am in the Airbnb and I'm like, you can stay here. And basically the whole night I'm offering weird things like wine and all this stuff. And then I pretty much really want to sleep with you, but I don't. This is getting weird. Would you stay at the Airbnb?
Yeah, I wouldn't have stayed at the Airbnb right at the gate, truth be told. I mean, like right at the first interaction, I'm the type of person that would just be, if I showed up second, you got there first.
Finders keepers.
Like you got there first. Like
my man was sleeping.
Yeah, he was. So it was just saying, like, clearly all like when she went and took a piss, like she saw like all of his toiletries were already out and all that. So it was more or less like, okay, you're here already. I'm just gonna go. He was like, oh, there's a convention in town. Like you're not gonna be able to find it. I'll find something. Like I'll find something. Like it's not gonna be in this neck of the neighborhood, but I'll find something. Like with our phones. Like we have the technology and clearly this wasn't a timepiece. So it was like, today's day and age, we would be able to find something that was nearby or a little bit. I'm not staying with somebody that it would basically feel, I wouldn't even think of like the whole, like, I'm going to get like, fucking murdered. I would automatically think like, oh, I'm intruding onto this person's stay. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, I'm going to avoid all that at all costs. You have yourself a good time. I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What makes me sad about the movie, though, is like, I remember thinking afterwards, like, man, like Bill Skarsgård kind of seemed like a good dude. Like,
oh, I think he was completely normal. I think he was like
100%.
a really great dude. And like, it just sucks that you felt like he was a piece of shit for like a portion of the film because you're like questioning his like his validity, you know what I mean? Like You know, it's like even Tess obviously was like she took a picture of his ID and
Mhm.
like, yeah, I figured she would like Facebook him or something. You know what I mean? Like, and like that's what I was kind of waiting for because he was like, oh, I'm the founding member of this like jazz organization. And then like I was
She's
waiting.
working on a documentary. She wants a job working on a documentary about that jazz organization.
Right. And then I was expecting her to like Facebook him and he would have like no affiliation with any of that. And like he was
Yeah.
just lying. That's what I was waiting for was like this, like, imposter, he just knew you were coming and, or maybe he's the real
Yeah.
owner of the house, something like that. But
Well,
the way it unfolded was good.
one thing we didn't talk about, which is kind of a sensitive subject, is on surface level, right? Like Barbarian is batshit crazy. On a deeper level, it's actually a movie about men's power over women and kind of that imbalance because you have
Yeah.
her showing up to the house, right? She's obviously afraid because she's like, who are you? Like, typically they have this whole conversation about how men
Yep.
are, usually like if he showed up and she was there, he would have been like, oh yeah, I have no problem staying here.
Right.
She shows up and she questions him. And then you have the plot line of Justin Long's character, AJ. His whole plot line about him basically coercing this girl into having sex with him, having power over her, and how now all of a sudden so he kind of gets this idea of like, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. And in today's world, it's one of those things where like I didn't know how to feel about his character because I'm like, there are times, especially in Hollywood, where there are accusations thrown around that are strictly because of like, oh, I don't like this person, I'm going to start accusing them of something.
Yep.
So I'm on the fence with his character. And then he goes to the bar with his friend, and his friend's like, yo, stop fucking playing. Tell me what happened. And he's like, yeah, you know how I am. Like, I can be a little, I'm very persuasive. And then I'm like, oh, he's a piece of shit.
Yep.
And then he gets home and he calls her and he's like, I think we should just talk this out. He's like mitigating the impact that he just had on her life. And then the whole like plot of the killer in the movie, the creature, is again a man overpowering a woman. This man who took it upon himself to kidnap women and impregnate them for whatever reason he wanted to do that. So this whole gender thing plays along in the whole entire film. And even when Justin Long takes it upon himself to overpower Tess and just throw her off of the water tower, that theme runs every single bit of the movie. And I think it's one of those movies where like maybe in due time people will really bring that up and be like, oh man, this movie's actually kind of deep in the themes it's trying to portray. And I don't think it portrays them. I don't think it has a chance to fully realize the ideas. They're just kind of there because it doesn't really have anything to say at the end of the movie about them. It's not like it's not coming to a point where it's like, oh, but women have a chance to overcome and be strong.
Well,
yeah.
If you think about it, in a whole, like almost all of the men in the film were, except Bill Skarsgård, R.I.P. But like all of the men in the film were taking advantage of the women and overpowering them. And that end scene of her killing the woman, it was like, the only like true savior she had was another woman, but yet she still felt the need to have to kill her. So it was this like weird dynamic at the end there. Definitely cool and good point to bring up there, though. I mean, for sure, because this definitely has that like imbalance in society that we have, because you're exactly right. I mean, I pull up and there's a woman staying there, I'm probably gonna immediately still say like, no, this is all you, just because of like the whole like you got there first,
Yeah, but you wouldn't be afraid to stay with her though.
Oh no, definitely not. Like I wouldn't feel threatened by her presence, in the house, but the other way around, I'm sure. So I totally get that. I mean, like it even like in the film they say it like it's just like you never know. Like guys just fucking, they just it's not just guys necessarily, but that's like what the whole portrayal of the whole thing is. I mean, it's just like people can snap at any moment, and like that's like that mother, the creature, the incest, whatever thing, woman, she snaps and kills all these people, and it's kind of showing you a different dynamic there as well. But overall, I did have a really good time with this one. It was fun. It's cool to watch something modern, talk about it on the show. I want to keep doing this more. The next thing up on the list is I want to see Smile. It was pretty
Yeah.
cool because
I
that
didn't
was
watch the trailer
actually
for that yet either.
neither have I, but have you seen the marketing campaign
At
for it?
the football game or
There's been 4 or 3 baseball games and then Good Morning America.
yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know, there's a film that comes out like at the end of this month called Smile, and I haven't seen the trailer. Don't plan on seeing the trailer. Marketing campaign is absolutely genius, and they're sending people out to public events, real life public events like baseball games, news reports, and things like that. And they're just staging people at these events and just sitting there and staring directly into the cameras and smiling for the entirety of the baseball game. And I think it's fucking sick. And like the public doesn't know why. It took like a lot of digging for someone to even correlate the two together.
Yeah, 'cause
But
at the game they were at the baseball game, they were wearing like the jersey of the home team.
yeah, right. And yeah, it was just like super bizarre. And then it was on like Good Morning America. Like they were just like one person was just like sitting like kind of far in the background, just like eerily smiling. And like there's like a TikTok ad that popped up today for me. And it has like this like really cool like visual scene of like this woman like kind of like hyperlapsed walking up to this car that this woman's sitting in, and the perspective is from the passenger seat out the driver's seat, so you see the um the portrait, not the portrait,
Like the silhouette of the
this you see like what's the side profile, you see the profile of the woman, and then you see this woman like hyperlapsed walking up to the car, and she like bangs on the window like real fucking fast, and then a head just swings, like pendulum swings, and that's the end of the ad. So I was like, oh fuck. So definitely excited to check that out. I honestly last night when we went to Regal, they were showing a private screening of that, and I was like half fucking tempted to get tickets for that over Barbarian. At this point, I kind of wish I did. Not because I didn't dislike Barbarian. I liked it a lot. But like that movie's got some like cool stuff going on. For that like marketing campaign to be doing like real stunts like this is like really cool. I mean, something that comes to mind is like not even necessary. I mean, like I know that for Kill Bill, they did like the splatter blood like billboards where it looked like there was just blood coming out of the billboards. Like that's not even necessarily on the same like scale, but
yeah,
it's like that type of marketing and advertising is like very, very new and different.
I really only think of the last time I think a movie had a really cool marketing campaign in memory is just Blair Witch Project.
Well, of course, Blair Witch
It started pretty much everything we know about viral marketing.
The Ring.
Oh yeah, The Ring.
I don't really know like the validity of how like deep people thought into that. Like I don't know if like, I mean, I remember it when it came out, and like I remember like people said that they had the tape, you know what I mean? And like, but like I don't know. It was kind of like a Bloody Mary thing. It was like, oh well, it's like whatever.
Another thing we have coming out too, October 6th, for anybody who doesn't know, because it was only announced a couple weeks ago, Terrifier 2 is getting a wide release thanks to AMC and Regal. And for people who don't know, if you're watching this and you don't know what Terrifier is, shame on you. You should figure it out. Basically, Terrifier is a movie that came out a couple years ago, kind of out of nowhere. It's Damien Leone's, and Art the Clown is the main protagonist of it. And he was in a movie before. He had a movie before called All Hallows Eve, and then Terrifier kind of took the character to the next level. And then now, finally, Terrifier 2 is coming out, and it is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. And I actually went on to Bloody Disgusting today to just read up on some articles. And the one article about 10 horror movies coming out we should all look forward to said that Terrifier 2 is legitimately the most violent, over the top, grisly horror movie to come out in history because it's releasing uncut. And at 2 hours and 30 minutes, man, I'm fucking here for it. So,
Oh, dude, let's go to the theater and see it together, man. I'm down.
dude, I even got Erica excited because I watched Terrifier with her.
Yeah.
Like, you have to watch this trailer. I'm like, this is going to be insane. The last time I saw a 150-minute horror movie was It Chapter 2. So
That checks out.
oh,
Yeah,
no,
I saw
Dr.
that.
Sleep. Yeah, Dr. Sleep was 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that Chris Jericho plays a security guard in it, which is supposed to be pretty. I'll see that. That'll be pretty
And
interesting.
Terrifier?
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, October has a couple interesting things coming out. We just got the release of Hellraiser the other day. We got the release of the Monsters. Wait, did Hellraiser come out?
no,
Or was
October
the
8th.
trailer October 8th? Okay, yeah.
Whoa, wait a second. Isn't there, I know there's a lot of cool movies coming out, but isn't there something coming up in December that we meant to talk about that I just randomly got really, really, really hyped about?
Hey, listen,
Out of nowhere?
we got to bring this up for sure. So it is official. It has come out on our social media. However, it's going to be sick to announce it here on the show officially. But we are officially sponsoring the inaugural Jason Takes PA with special honored guest Kane Hodder, notably known as the best Jason, the longest Jason, and the most badass bring to life Jason, Voorhees, that is. I'm excited. I know you're excited. I know Ty Guy's excited. We're going to have a crew of people out there. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to be done. A lot of guests. We have Adam Marcus, the director of Jason Goes to Hell, will be there. They're showing a private screening of Jason Goes to Hell. General admission tickets are $40. This is not a convention. This is not something where there's going to be, all these different things about all these different, whatever. It's not a convention. The point of it is it's all things Kane. So you'll get vendors. There will be vendors. There's going to be activities. There's going to be live music from a band called American Grimm. There's going to be vendors and things, like I said, that'll be similar to a convention, but it won't be set up like that. There'll be a private dinner with Kane. That's going to be an additional VIP package. You'll be able to watch Jason Goes to Hell with Kane and director Adam Marcus for that in that VIP package as well. I'm not exactly too sure on what all of the packages entail, but I know that there is some sweet extras that you get at the door if you do get that VIP package. Tickets do range from general admission at $40 all the way up to $300 being the premium package. But that also gets you a lot of goodies. So if you're a collector, it gets you signed stuff. It gets you the dinner with Kane, Q&A. There's going to be a lot. So that being said, we're excited to do this. Also, a portion of all ticket sales go to the Burn Foundation, which is a really big, important thing to note. That was one of the key points to bring up amidst this all. So that is December 10th, I believe.
Yep, Saturday, December 10th.
Yep, and it's at the Palace Center.
Yep, in Hanover, 823 Hanover Avenue, Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Mind you, this is also sponsored by a bunch of companies, a bunch of people in the space, but the big ones being Fright Rags and Fangoria.
Yep. So Fangoria actually has this on their website currently, and Fright Rags is also an official sponsor. We are also an official sponsor of the event, and what that'll entail for us is we're gonna have Kane on the show. So Kane Hodder will be a guest on the Tapehead Massacre podcast. He will be able to talk Hatchet, Friday the 13th, all the good stuff that he's done over the years, kind of just, and maybe not kind of go over, maybe we can just, kind of give you guys something new, So now's the kind of time to reach out to us and kind of let us know like what you'd want to ask Kane or what you'd want to talk to Kane about, because there's documentaries out there on Kane that kind of give you his whole life story.
Yeah.
I personally have seen that documentary on him.
Called To Hell and Back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great documentary on Shudder. I highly recommend you go to watch it. But on top of that, like I kind of want to know, like, Kane's like go-to bands or like go-to movies, like what's his definitive slasher, or like what's like, I don't know, like his favorite 80s flick or shit like that. Like that's the kind of stuff that like, I'm looking forward to talking to him about. It's going to be sick. I fucking can't wait. It's super exciting.
And most importantly, I mean, outside of the opportunity to meet Kane Hodder and talk to him and all of that, the whole entire center of the event is to help the Burn Foundation. That is the entire cause of the event. That's why Kane Hodder is in attendance, to raise money for this. And this is an event that has been broadcasted on news in Pennsylvania. News sources have picked this up. It's been, I have something in my eye. It has been, it's being pushed really heavy. There's going to be a lot of media presence from local media in Pennsylvania, especially as the show gets closer. At the end of the day, we're trying to raise money for an organization that has an incredible cause behind it. And what better person to have there doing it with us than Kane Hodder. So that's the best part to me, is just, being able to kind of like have a very small hand in helping some people out with the foundation. So
yeah, no, I couldn't said it better myself, man. I mean, that's just that's the bottom line. We're out there for a good cause. It's the horror community coming together for a good cause, and you also get, a night with Kane. I mean, I know for a lot of like, diehard Friday fans, or even your run-of-the-mill horror moviegoers, that's it's a huge opportunity. If you live in the tri-state, that's just something you shouldn't pass up on. Like I said, general admission tickets are $40. I'm going to link them in the description of the episode. So whatever podcast platform you're listening on, or if you're watching on YouTube, the link for tickets will be in the description below. Make sure you scoop up your tickets, because this will sell out fast. Like I said, this is not a convention, so it's not going to be, thousands of tickets. This is going to be limited to, I don't know the exact number, but I know that it is not going to be a gigantic not holded, but like it'll be, it won't be convention size anyway, is what I'm trying to say.
it's basically a charity event.
Yeah. So it kind of gives you that like that intimate experience with a horror icon, and with just having a night of fun about it. So plus you get to see Jason Goes to Hell and meet Adam Marcus, the director, and we get to sit there and talk about Jason and exploding.
Which Jason Goes to Hell has the best kill hands down in the entire franchise, which is the tent.
Yeah.
That's why you just can't be a top.
Yeah.
You'll just get sliced.
You're just going to get sliced instantly.
Funny story about that while we're on this real quick. When I was younger, I don't know how old I was, I got the Crystal Lake Memories Friday 13th book, which is the only book that you need on the history of Friday 13th, now an actual documentary. But anyway, in that book, a lot of the discussion on Jason Goes to Hell was the unrated cut versus the theatrical cut, which at that time, the unrated cut was a little harder to get your hands on. And the whole thing around that was the extended sequence of the tent kill, where a girl is riding a man. They're pretending to play pony and equestrian. And a machete comes through the tent, through her stomach, and she is ripped in half vertically. And in the theatrical cut, that scene was pretty butchered. And in the unrated cut, that scene is there in its full glory. And that, I had never seen Jason Goes to Hell when I had this book, because I was small and just never watched it. And so for many years of my life, that scared the shit out of me, the idea of that. And that's the only reason to this day I will put on Jason Goes to Hell, because outside of that, it's an odd entry.
Yeah.
13th franchise, but yeah, that kill alone made that whole movie worth it for me. So I can't wait to watch that there.
Oh yeah, with Kane and Adam. Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
It's gonna be great.
So, but yeah, that's a big one we have looking forward to. We're also going to be doing a really cool broadcast on October the 16th. There will be a live broadcast for anyone that wants to tune in on Twitch. That'll probably be the next live broadcast we do. We were doing them every time, but I'm going to limit them to like special events or special guests. But the October 16th will be a special event. Going to be hosting a curated movie event by yours truly, and be blowing it up on a projector and doing a whole little drive-in movie experience with friends. And we'll have a lot of friends of the show on. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. If you're a local listener, hit us up and, chime on over into the world of the Tapehead Massacre. But other than that, let's see. I'm probably going to hop off and watch X, truth be told, because I want to get caught up. I haven't seen X yet, and I want to see Pearl because that's the sequel, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It's a prequel.
Oh, it's a prequel. There we go.
And then they just announced the sequel to X called Magazine Triple X.
Very cool.
Yeah, you'll get it once you watch X, but just know that X is still my favorite horror movie of the year. So,
dude, I almost picked up. I thought of you, and it was just a little bit too rich for my blood. Especially, by the way, you podcast listeners out there or YouTube viewers out there, I officially do not work for my company anymore. So
I found the bag for you.
Yeah, they finally found the bag. But that being said, it was a little too rich for my blood at the moment. And but they had the Severin Films Andy Mulligan box set.
Yeah.
And it was like 140, and he was like, "You'll never find it at a better price." It was Henry from Exhumed, and I was like, "Oh man."
But you over time keep an eye on Mercari and stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I have everything. I have so many saved searches on Mercari. So,
dude, I have, just to kind of get into physical media a little bit, trying to save a house, Erica, or trying to save for a house, not trying to save a house.
Yeah.
A house. Erica and I, so we've kind of been cutting back, mainly kind of useless spending. I'm still buying movies here and there and stuff, but putting more away than usual. And Severin actually put up the what's it called, the Haunt is Ours, the folk horror set.
Oh yeah,
they had a bunch of dented copies and they put it up for sale for $85, which was 50% off the regular price of the box set. And I was so tempted and I couldn't. And it's actually funny that you brought up the Andy Milligan set, because I actually had that in a cart through Severin. They did a sale on it. I believe it was during a warehouse liquidation only about a month or so after it came out, and it was $60.
Damn.
And I didn't buy it because it happened when I left my old job and I was getting ready for the new job. I just couldn't pull the trigger on it.
Damn.
So, yeah, and I mean, it is what it is. I kind of wish I did at the time. But speaking of physical media, just a couple of things that I did pick up or that are coming in that are really exciting. First of all, Scream Factory released the Evil Dead remake in 4K.
Yep. I saw you got that.
Yeah, just got that, and I'm super stoked because the unrated cut is on there as well, which in my opinion is the superior version.
I don't know if I have that on DVD or not. I know I have Evil Dead on that remake on DVD. I have it on VHS as well. But I don't know if the unrated version's on the DVD or not. I'll have to see.
They did weird, like they put out the Blu-ray, and then in like 2016 they put out an unrated Blu-ray, and it was just treated weird. And then I just got noticed today that the Scream Factory release of Army of Darkness on 4K just shipped, which I'm super excited.
I just realized that my shirt's on backwards.
That's all right. And then I listen, bro. I've heard so much flack about the fact that I ordered this set, but for anybody out there who's with me, oh look at that! Everything.
I wore my special shirt and I didn't even get
There's
to
a
show it
better-
off on the episode. It's
God
my
damn.
it's my custom hitchhiker shirt straight out from
Oh, I have this knife.
yeah, I have this knife. It's a good knife. He hand printed these shirts.
That is fucking awesome. Damn. But yeah, the Paranormal Activity set is coming out for the first time. All the movies in a big box set. It was like $50 when I pre-ordered it. I'm hype on it. Hate on the guys all you want, but I'm just hype on it.
No, that's tight, man. I haven't picked up any physical stuff recently, unfortunately, but I am looking forward to picking up some stuff soon. Yeah, like I said, I think I'm gonna try and watch X tonight. If not that, I might. I don't know. I got
me fucking yawn now.
I know. I got too much on the on the watch list. So, but let's see. Am I missing anything? Is there anything?
Blonde, 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah. Am I missing anything? Are we forgetting anything? I think this might be it.
I think that's it.
Well, listen, guys, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe on whatever podcast platform you listen to. We will be doing subscriber-only episodes pretty soon here. Just kind of converting over into that style of things so that way we can kind of keep it more interactive, give you guys a little bit more content, a little bit more behind-the-scenes things, and also just kind of upping the overall value of the show. Mm-hmm. That being said, leaving a review and doing so does a lot for us. It does help us out a ton, gets us into the right demographic. We're on all social media platforms, the Tapehead Massacre, or actually it's just Tapehead Massacre. You could find us on there. Chris, they could find you at Bearded Film Guy for all of the Blu-ray fun and movie pickups that you have. If you're into photography, Chris also has a photography page as well as Unheard Of. That's the handle. We know about it. It's not unheard of, but the handle is Unheard Of.
I am Unheard Of.
Yes, he is Unheard Of. That being said, I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but we will have a subscriber only episode on the Monsters, the Rob Zombie remake. Yeah, right. Reboot.
Yeah,
kind of. Like yeah. So, and make sure you guys stay tuned. And I'm rambling at this point, so we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.